In this lesson, we are going to be proposing an app. So this whole unit, this whole code.org unit that we've been working through in our Unit 2 and Unit 3, we have been learning about the problem-solving process and how computers process information to help solve problems by taking inputs and processing them to create useful outputs. So today, during this lesson, we are going to start a project where you and a partner of your choice, whether that's someone at home or no partner at all, will design an app to solve a problem of your choosing. So in your journal, if you go to your journal and then go to Lesson 8, this is where you can put your response to this. Of the apps we've seen in this unit, this code.org unit, so you might have to think back to Unit 2, or you could just click back through the code.org stuff. What was your favorite app that we experimented with? What problem did it solve? Pause the video here so that you can answer this in your journal. Our question of the day is, how can the IOSP model help us to design an app that solves a problem? Now, if you remember, we covered the IOSP model in our Unit 2, and so IOSP stands for Input, Output, Storage, and Processing. All right, so as you're working through creating or proposing an app, think about how the IOSP model can help us to design an app that solves a problem. So, as we begin, you will need to download from Schoology all of these attached documents. And so let's see what that looks like. The first that we're going to look at is the project guide. This is your project guide. You have an overview. It's pretty lengthy because it gives you the steps. Okay, you fill it in as you go. Your app, name your app, sketch what it looks like, and this is where the input, output, store, process, where you determine all of that kind of stuff. Okay, process, what sort of processing will your app use? All right, and then you have a peer review. So step 7, we're going to pause right here at step 7, and we are going to pull up the peer review document. This is attached in Schoology. So a peer review is looking like this. Says peer review, apps and problem solving project. Okay, so the creator's name, this is where your name comes in. The one thing I want feedback on is, what do you want feedback on? When somebody goes to test your app, what do you want to know most? All right, who is reviewing your app? This could be a partner. Well, no, it couldn't, because a partner helped you come up with these ideas to make the app, so this cannot be a partner. This can be someone else. This could be a friend. This could be a family member. This could be me. Okay, if you can't find anybody to review your app, you let me know. Send me an email. I will review your app for you, okay? And I am going to look at these things in the middle, okay? Whoever is reviewing your app, the types of evidence, the outputs of the app are clearly described, and could be used to help the user with the problem. I'm going to put down evidence I found. What are the outputs? Okay, are they clearly described? Ideas for more. Be more specific about blah, blah, blah output. Okay, I'm not quite sure what blah, blah, blah output does. Okay, and they're gonna be looking at all of the stuff that they're gonna be looking at your project guide as they answer these questions. Okay, so let the person who is reviewing your app make sure that they are very specific and make sure they give you ideas for more, okay? Because you're going to have to take at least one of those ideas and you're going to have to make your app better, okay? So if they don't give you anything, that's not going to help you very much, all right? So free response feedback. Have them complete these sentences, okay, regarding your app. I like the colors that you used in your app. I wish, blah, blah, blah. What if your app did this? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then you have a creator's reflection. So this is where you're going to come into this document and you're going to put information here. What piece of feedback was most helpful to you and why? What piece of feedback surprised you the most and why? Based on the feedback, what changes will you make to your app proposal? Okay, tell me right here. All right, and then go make those changes. All right, so that is the peer review. That was step 7. Finalize your app and make a poster. You have some options here for this poster. Okay, if you want to literally use paper and markers and pencils and crayons, you go right ahead and do that, okay? How would you turn that in? You could bring it to the classroom. You could take a good picture of it and submit a picture. Yeah, okay, so another option would be to use Canva.com. I don't know if you are familiar with Canva. So if you are not, let me just show you some of your options, okay? All right, so in Canva, you can create a design, and I'm gonna type in, I could choose that classroom poster right there, but I'm just gonna type in poster so that doesn't freak any of y'all out. Okay, poster, 18 or whatever the measurements were, it really doesn't matter. But you know what? If your app proposal is like good, I might want to like keep it. Okay, and like to show everybody, look at how awesome their project was. Okay, so this is Canva. All right, in Canva, you have poster templates that you can use, but think about what it is that you're supposed to be putting on your poster. Okay, this we need to be looking at the project guide for that information. Okay. So, based on the results of your peer feedback, make any additions or changes you need to make to how you defined your problem and how you describe your app. Then make a poster that presents the final version of your app. Your poster needs to include the following: the name of your app, the target audience, the problem the app is designed to solve, the input information the app uses, a drawing of the output the app produces, and a description of how the app processes information. Okay, so if you're going to use Canva for your project, I would stick with some basic shapes. All right, I recently used one of these little bubble maps, so that's fun. You have lines and shapes. You can search for, like, if you wanted to search for something like organic shapes, and you could maybe change the color. Yeah, you could change the color, and you could use those as like a background of one of those things, so like the name of your app. You can also, let's see, this is an app, and so we could have this on here, and then whatever your app is going to look like, you could put it right there. Okay, that would be pretty cool. And so you could just have different colored shapes. Okay, maybe rotate it some. All right, and let's look back. The name of your app, the target audience, the problem, the input, a drawing of the output. Okay, so you'll just have to kind of experiment. You may want to kind of sketch it out on paper first. Okay, and then once you have all of those things, and like you feel really good about it, all right, you're going to go to Flipgrid, and that is linked in this assignment post so that you can answer, kind of like present your app, but through Flipgrid. Okay, so these are the questions that you're going to answer on Flipgrid. How you defined the problem your app is designed to solve, and why you decided on this. So my first tip for your presentation is write out whatever it is that you're going to say. Okay, write it out, put it on like a sticky note or a card or something, and just kind of place it right beside, right above, right below, wherever your camera is, okay? And you can read from that card without it looking like a hot mess, okay? And then you can have your poster. Now, if you did your poster digitally, we'll have to brainstorm how we can get that presentation on this Flipgrid video, okay? If you have a phone, you can download Flipgrid and from the App Store, and you can submit your Flipgrid over your phone. That way you have your iPad and you can show your design, your poster, from your iPad. Okay, now we're also going to have a place in Schoology to submit your poster. All right. I didn't put that on here though, but it will be on here by the time you see it. And then you've got a journal wrap up. Oh wait, no, okay, so you also have this student checklist. Let me show you this, okay, because I made this and it is like so nice. Okay. Bam. All right, look. Okay, this is in Google Sheets. I'm a Google Sheets kind of person, okay? And you are absolutely welcome to have a copy of this. Otherwise, you'd be having a piece of paper. Bleh. All right. So this is the apps and problem solving process. So when you make a copy of this, when you click that link in Schoology, you could type your name right here. But wait, there's more. Okay, you can literally check off the stuff that you've done. Okay, your app outputs are clearly described. Did you do that? If you didn't do it, don't check it off because there's no point. This is for you to make sure that you have done what needs to be done. Now look. At the bottom right here, I'm gonna have to scoot it Okay. At the bottom, you have a possible total score. Now, just because you check off this box does not mean you're going to necessarily get credit for it, because your app clearly described in detail, that might not be enough detail, but you at least clearly described it. So, possible total score, you could possibly get a 100 if you do all of these and check them off. Otherwise, you can just consider this number down here to be how much of the checklist you have completed or how much of the project you have completed. Okay, so you're welcome. That's so cute. Love it. Okay, so you will need to submit, and I will make sure that I add that to this. You'll submit those things. I'll have the list for what you need to submit, so don't worry about that. Okay. All right, you will, in this project, work with a partner to find a real-world problem, okay? Brainstorm ways an app could help solve that problem. You don't have to work with a partner, all right? That's optional. But brainstorm ways an app could help solve the problem. Identify the inputs, outputs, storage, and processing that your app uses. Share your ideas with another group for peer feedback, or, you know, just anybody for peer feedback. Incorporate the feedback to create a final version of the app, and create a poster of your app to share with the class. Brainstorm problems. You might think about things you'd like to improve at the school, in your neighborhood, or in our community. A task in your everyday life that you wish could be completed more easily. You know what? I was just thinking about this, okay? Here's an example. Sometimes the mailman puts my neighbor's mail in my mailbox. Okay, like we don't have the same last name. Okay, so it really should not even be an issue. Okay, their name is on their mailbox. Like, okay, so this is a recurring problem. Instead of me having to drive half a mile, I know that sounds horrible. Instead of me having to drive half a mile to put their mail in their mailbox, you know, how could, that's a problem I'm thinking about today that I wish could be completed more easily. Okay, and that's just what's in my head. All right, a cause that you feel strongly about. Something that is currently inconvenient or annoying to do. Okay, well, that applies to what I'm thinking about. A cause that you feel strongly about, that could be like maybe the animal shelter. That could be lots of things like homeless. You know, the possibilities are endless there. Literally just look up human rights, okay? Choose your problem. Your problem should be interesting. Both group members are interested in the problem. Well defined. You can explain who specifically the problem affects, what needs to change, and how you'll be able to tell if the problem has been solved. Okay? So, keep that in mind. That's what well defined is, okay? Computing is relevant. The problem is an information problem that can be solved with thinking work. If that is confusing to you, go back to code.org and watch that video, What is a Computer? Okay. And you know what? I will try to have all of those videos linked to kind of make that a little bit easier for y'all, okay? I'll have them linked in a specific page. So define your problem. What you're going to be putting the problem solving process into action here. Okay, so what is the problem? Who does the problem affect? How will you be able to know that a solution has worked? prepare. And I believe you're going to be doing this stuff in your, yeah, you're going to be answering these things in your activity guide. Okay. What will your app do? What will it look like? You can make a quick sketch, you know, a rectangle, phone screen, square, squiggly lines to represent text, that kind of thing. What inputs and outputs will it use? What processing will it use? Will it be a if then, if this then that? Will it be comparing? Will it be both of those? Will it be all 4 types of processing that we covered in Unit 2? What types of information will it store? For your peer review, fill out the top part, swap the project and peer review guides with, or just give them to somebody, okay? Let them read over and then give you feedback on that form. You may fill out the form and then email it to them and say, hey, can you look at my project guide and then fill out part of the peer review? And then they can email it back to you. You just want to make sure that whenever you get done adding stuff to a PDF on your iPad, that you export as a PDF instead of just thinking that whatever you put is just going to save. Okay, when you export it as a PDF after you wrote on it, it's taking multiple layers and it's flattening them, so that way you just have one. Okay, reflect on the feedback and decide what changes you will make based on the other group's ideas. All right, and then you're going to finalize your app. So once you're done with all of those things, don't forget to complete the wrap-up journal. What are you most proud of in your project? Okay, and again, you should be able to answer this question. How can the IOSP model help us to design an app that solves a problem? Now, you also have a peer review, nope, not a peer review. It's a project rubric. This is in Schoology. You need to grade yourself based on this rubric. All right? You can just, let me make this a little bit smaller. Okay. You can just circle. That's a really, really bad circle. Okay. Command Z to undo. You can circle, square it. Okay. You can highlight by clicking that highlight button. You can change the color if you don't like the color of that highlight. Okay. You can highlight the things that you like, how you feel. This is extensive evidence, convincing, limited, and no evidence. Outputs are not listed. If you looked at your project guide and you did not list any outputs, you better go on ahead. And you know what? They don't have a red under here. They need a red because that would be bad. All right, outputs are not listed. So you can see exactly what it is that you need to do in order to get a good grade. You're going to submit a graded student rubric. Okay. What else? All right, so on this assignment post in Schoology, whatever it is that you need to submit, it will be listed like right under here, okay? Just follow these and have fun.